The case against Richard Rosario all comes down to two eyewitnesses. I've been eager to speak with them, but I've been having trouble finding them. The names Michael Sanchez and Robert Davis are just about as common as John Smith. But eventually, I find a possible address for Robert Davis, not in the Bronx where George Colazzo was murdered, but a different borough of New York City. We're here in Brooklyn to look for Robert Davis. He lives over here in this building right next to Coney Island. We have no idea if he's home or if he even still lives here. So we're just going to go and knock on his door. If he's home, see if he'll talk to us. It can be nerve-wracking when tracking people down. You never know what you could be walking into or what kind of reaction you're going to get. But it's something I need to do, especially because of how important Robert Davis is to this case, as former Detective Bobby Adelorado showed me at the crime scene.
It's a bump, there's words passed.
The official theory of the crime was that George Colazzo's murder was the result of a random altercation among strangers. The gunman followed Colazzo and his friend Michael Sanchez down a side street. Reports show Robert Davis was standing right about here. Lucky for me, Davis is home and allows me to record our interview.
So he gonna ask me the question?
Okay. He says he was on the job that day, outside the building where he worked.
I'm cleaning the streets and everything. I see three gentlemen coming towards me. And two of them are having words, changing words. One of them say, "You're not gonna do this no more." You know? So in my mind, I'm thinking it's over a girl. Or something, when I hear the shot, bang, and look up, the kid falls down to the ground.
Davis tells me he immediately ran over to help and tried to get information from the victim's friend, Michael Sanchez.
"Do you know this person? Do you know the person that got shot? Do you know the person that shot him?" He answered yes. I said, "Well, wait here."
Wait a second. Did he just say Michael Sanchez, the victim's friend, knew the shooter?
He knew the shooter. I said, "Do you know that person that did it?" He said, "Yeah."
But I read the police reports, and Sanchez never told the police he knew the shooter. Maybe Davis is just wrong. After all, it has been 20 years. But he seems to remember a lot of details.
When we got the police and ambulance, and that was it, and the cops came.
Detectives brought Davis to the 43rd Precinct in the Bronx, where he was shown books of mugshots of young Hispanic men, but he couldn't identify anyone. So Davis went back to work. Then, within a couple of hours, the other eyewitness, Michael Sanchez, picked out Rosario's mugshot. So detectives showed up at Davis's job that night. This time, he says, they only had a handful of pictures with them.
It's like they had like maybe 2 to 3 pictures, and maybe just came out of shape which one, which picture, like showing me, you know. So I just pointed out the guy that's supposed to have done. They said, "Yeah, that's the guy." As I pointed out, they said, "Yeah, that's the guy." So I thought I did my job.
That guy was Richard Rosario. Davis tells me he didn't doubt Rosario's guilt then, and he does not doubt it now.
Like I say, I still feel like I got the man.
So I'm curious what Davis would make of all those alibi witnesses in Florida. I make it clear I'm not looking to sway him in any way. And I just want to emphasize for you, we are not trying to get you to say he's innocent. I'm not here to prove his innocence. I'm here to find the truth.
Yeah.
That's all I care about.
I'm a deputy sheriff. I mean, on June 19th, he was in my house. We were talking.
Davis isn't even through hearing the first alibi witness before he has a reaction.
Not a single phone call.
That's kind of messed up. If he really is an innocent person, it's really messed up.
And after he's done watching the rest, his mood seems to change.
Really hurts my conscience now to see that if I did lock up an innocent person, that's kind of bad. You know, especially if the cops lied or BS me.
How did the cops lie? What did they say to you?
Well, just to say that if this really wasn't the man, they're just bringing up anybody's picture to me.
But that's not the cops saying it, it's you saying it.
No, they showed me a picture and I said, yes, it was him. You know, they do different things. Maybe trying to convince me to say this is the guy. Maybe I did make a mistake, maybe, in that. You know, maybe that wasn't really the guy.
The only people that say he did do it are you and this other guy, Michael.
Right.
That's it.
And the cops saying that he did it.
Well, the cops aren't saying it.
They are. They said he was the guy. They did say that. The cops did tell me that. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Because I know they said that he was the guy. You know, they said, you got the right, thank you very much. And that was it.
Wow. From the beginning, in police reports and his testimony, Davis has been consistent. He said over and over again, he's certain Richard Rosario pulled that trigger. I take another look at Robert Davis's testimony from Rosario's trial. He testified detectives actually showed him a bunch of books when they came back to his job, and that he looked at more than 75 pictures, not just 2 or 3 like he told me. And I double-checked. It's not documented anywhere that Davis has ever said that Michael Sanchez told him he knew the shooter. So what should I make of Robert Davis? Once again, I call on former Detective Bobby Adelarado to get his opinion.
No. The guy's telling me they said he was the person.
Bobby is immediately skeptical of Davis.
I think now it's 20 years since the incident occurred, right? And he appears to me somebody who's very pliable. I think you can probably get this guy to say anything.
And we don't know if it's true.
Mm-hmm.
But
if it's exactly the way he's saying it, there's a police procedure problem. You don't show a witness 2 pictures, 3 pictures. There's a system in place to show 6 photographs. It's Detective 101.
the way that I took it was that the cop said, confirm that's the guy, yeah.
That's what I got from that. I got from that he's saying once he picked who he picked, the cops confirmed to him, yes, you got the right guy.
Is there a problem with that?
Yeah. I would never tell somebody, yeah, you got the right guy.
What's the problem with doing that?
Because you're influencing him at that point. You're confirming to him that you've already convicted him at that point. Yes, you got the right guy. Yes, this is the guy who did it. You're telling him this is the murderer.
Even though the lead detective, Gary Whitaker, didn't want to go on camera, he did tell me he would never show a witness just a few photos, and everything was done by the book. I also called the NYPD, and they declined to speak about the case. The only other evidence against Rosario is the person who first pointed to his picture hours after the crime, the victim's friend, Michael Sanchez. I'm having trouble finding Sanchez, and now I'm starting to wonder, if Rosario is innocent, what really happened here? It's time to learn more about the victim, George Colazzo, and doing that will launch me on a brand new trail.
He was scared. He knew something was going to happen to him.
That's next on Conviction.